What is going on, everybody? And I hope you're enjoying your Hump Day Wednesday today. This is NYG Jeffy T 85 here, and I am bringing you the Black and Blue Injury Report for the New York Giants, November 30th, 2022, as the Giants get prepared for easily the biggest game of the entire season at MetLifeStadium, Week 13, against the Washington Commanders. And the Giants, there's some good news on the injury front. The Giants seem to be getting a lot more of their players back from either IR or they might be coming back from minor injuries that they've been dealing with for the past couple of weeks. The injury list is long, but it's not as bad as it might seem by when you first look at it. Now, the Giants overall, there are a lot of players on here that are banged up, but the majority of them are at least practicing in a limited basis. So I'm going to go over the injury list real quickly. In terms of the people that did not participate today at practice, Gary Brightwell, he's dealing with an illness right now. He was not present at New York Giants practice today. Not sure what the illness is. I believe it's non-COVID related. So he was not at practice today. He obviously did not participate. Have to monitor how he's going to look tomorrow at practice as well as Friday. And then maybe we'll get a better designation on the status of Gary Brightwell heading into the rest of the week. Shane Lemieux and Joshua Ezeudu were also not present at practice today. Lemieux, it just does not sound like good news. It sounds like he might have re-aggravated that toe injury that he suffered in preseason. And in the first game of preseason against the New England Patriots all the way back in August. And even head coach Brian Daboll didn't sound so confident in the injury status of Shane Lemieux heading into this game and maybe even the rest of the season. So he did not practice today. And Joshua Ezeudu, who's been dealing with a neck injury for the past couple of weeks, he did not practice at all today as well. So the Giants are already down two more offensive linemen in this game. Adoree Jackson, obviously, he's not going to be playing in anytime soon. He's dealing with the sprained MCL that he suffered in the game against the Detroit Lions. Nobody expects him to come back within the next couple of weeks. So Adoree Jackson right now, he's out with the sprained MCL. Richie James is also being bothered by a knee injury, so you have to wonder, because the fact that Adoree Jackson and Richie James are both banged up right now, do we see a possibility of the former Detroit Lion returner / wide receiver Khalil Pimpleton possibly getting called up to the 53-man roster, and maybe he's active and can play a part in that return game for the New York Giants heading into this game on Sunday against the Washington Commanders. Now I get to some of the good news on the injury front at least. Daniel Bellinger, who's been out pretty much since the Jacksonville game, all the way back at week 7 with that broken orbital bone, he at least got a limited practice session today. The first time he's been practicing with the Giants since he got hurt in that Jacksonville game. He at least was limited, and at least it sounds a little bit more promising that Bellinger could make his return to the Giants, to the football field for the Giants this Sunday against the Commanders, which would be a definite big-time upgrade if we can get him there. Leonard Williams is now dealing with a neck injury. Williams has been banged up all season. He had a sprained MCL in week 2 against Carolina. Then he was dealing with a little bit of a shoulder issue that he was dealing with before. And now he's got a neck injury. So Williams has been all kinds of banged up for the Giants. He had a limited session of practice today. Jon Feliciano, who's also dealing with a neck injury, he also had a limited practice today. So he at least might be on the mend to possibly coming back into this game. Carter Coughlin, one of the key special teams players, he has a thigh injury right now, but he at least was able to garner at least a limited practice for the New York Giants today. Dane Belton, who's been battling that clavicle injury since he fractured his clavicle all the way back in preseason and training camp, he was limited at practice today, so that's at least a positive sign. Cor'Dale Flott, who suffered the concussion, unfortunately, against the Dallas Cowboys on the game on Thanksgiving this past Thursday, he at least was limited, so it sounds like he's not that far off from potentially getting cleared from concussion protocol for the Giants, so he looks like he's going to be on the mend and could return for this game on Sunday for the Giants. Darnay Holmes and Fabian Moreau were also limited at practice today. Holmes is dealing with a shoulder injury. Giants need to get a little bit better production from Darnay Holmes in the slot. He's a little bit banged up now. At least he got a limited session, so I don't know if that's going to affect his status, but I think he's going to play. And Fabian Moreau, one of the most underrated guys in that Giants secondary, he at least was moving a lot better at practice today. So it's a very positive sign that at least he's going to be better from that oblique injury. You have to wonder, though, if head coach Brian Daboll is going to be confident enough that he's going to be able to throw him out there on the football field to help out the New York Giants in this game against the Washington Commanders on Sunday, as he's going to have to take on a lot of these very talented Washington Commanders wide receivers over there, and Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, De'Ami Brown, and Jahan Dotson. And in terms of the guys that practice in full today, a couple of key offensive linemen. First, we'll start out with Tyre Phillips, who actually got the start against the Dallas Cowboys and has been the primary swing tackle for the Giants so far this season. He at least got a full practice session in there from his neck injury, so that's a positive sign that Phillips can once again return to his swing tackle and the third tackle role for the New York Giants. And the reason why I say that is because Evan Neal, for the first time, he at least has been able to get a full session of practice in because of that knee injury, the sprained MCL that he suffered in that Jacksonville game. But the fact that he was at least able to get a full practice in today, and at least it sounds very confident that Daboll believes he's going to be able to come into practice today, and he's going to be able to return for the New York Giants this Sunday against the Commanders, which would be a huge boost on that offensive line. But at the same time, there's a little bit of bad news. Sounds like Brian Daboll is not so confident in left guard Ben Bredesen's return from the injured reserve. He did get activated a few days ago from injured reserve, but Brian Daboll is not as confident in the chances of Ben Bredesen starting at left guard and playing this Sunday, which could mean, because of the fact that Lemieux and Ezeudu sound very iffy, if not, they're probably not going to play, and with Bredesen down right now, there's a strong possibility that Nick Gates can get his first start at left guard against the Washington Commanders. And if anybody remember that game against the Commanders last year in week 2, that's where Nick Gates unfortunately suffered that leg injury. So it'd be bittersweet for Nick Gates to get a shot again at the Washington Commanders after what happened to him during week 2 of last season. So he looks like he might be penciled in to start at left guard. So just be keeping in mind, if Bredesen is not able to get back from the injured list, and he's not confident right now, Daboll, that Bredesen will play, and unless Ezeudu and Lemieux, more confidence in Ezeudu than Lemieux at this point, then it looks like that the Giants might be having to put Nick Gates over there at the left guard position, which I would not have a problem with, because I think Gates is actually a more natural left guard and a guard in general than he is a center or maybe even a left tackle or right tackle where he originally started when he first joined the Giants a few years ago. So that's the Black and Blue Injury Report. I'm going to go over it one more time because it's a long one. It is a pretty long list, but at least some positive news here. First, the Bredesen news. Head coach Brian Daboll is not as confident that Ben Bredesen will be able to make his return this Sunday against the Commanders after coming off a knee injury that he suffered against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So don't look for Bredesen. Doesn't look like he's going to be making his return this week. Maybe they're going to save him for next week against the Eagles. We'll have to wait and see. But in terms of the guys that did not practice, Gary Brightwell with an illness, Joshua Ezeudu with a neck, Adoree Jackson with the sprained MCL, Richie James with a knee injury, and Shane Lemieux with a toe injury. They all did not practice today. I am more confident that Brightwell and James will be able to make their returns, at least in the next couple of days, to be able to make this game against the Commanders on Sunday. Obviously, Adoree Jackson's not going to be playing, and I'm not as confident in Joshua Ezeudu and Shane Lemieux's status for this game. And in terms of the limited guys, Daniel Bellinger, the biggest one arguably on this list, he had the orbital fracture. He's got a limited practice today, so it's trending in the direction that Daniel Bellinger will make his return for the New York Giants this Sunday against the Commanders. And man, can we use him out there especially in terms of blocking and receiving for the Giants. Dane Belton battling the clavicle injury. He got a limited session today. I think he's going to be good to go. Ditto with Carter Coughlin. Thigh injury. I think he's going to be good to go for this game. Giants look like they're going to get their starting center back, Jon Feliciano, who's been dealing with a neck injury the past couple of weeks. Think he'll be good to go for this game on Sunday against the Commanders back at the center position. Darnay Holmes and Fabian Moreau. Holmes, I think, is going to be good to go for this game on Sunday. I think he's just managing his shoulder injury right now. And Moreau, which is also a very big one for us, he's battling that oblique injury he suffered last week against the Lions, but he at least looks like he's going to be trending towards playing. We'll have to wait and see how he looks and how he feels after practicing on Thursday and Friday. And then Evan Neal and Tyre Phillips. Neal with the sprained MCL, Phillips with the neck injury. Both of them got a full practice in, so it looks like both of them are trending towards playing in this game on Sunday against the Washington Commanders. That is your Black and Blue injury report for the New York Giants heading into this game on Sunday, November 30th, last day of November 2022. If you guys like this video, hit the like button below. Sub up if you haven't already to NYGJeffyT85 for more breaking news, updates, and chatter and injury reports surrounding the New York Giants. Turn on the bell for notifications on the next video or short that's going to be dropping on the channel surrounding the New York Giants. And let me know how you feel about the injury report that just dropped today for the New York Giants. If you're encouraged by some of the injury news you see right now, if you're a little discouraged by some of the guys that are now showing up in the injury report, and who do you think we're going to be expecting to get back for this game, this critical game on Sunday against the Washington Commanders at MetLifeStadium. So I thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Hump Day Wednesday. Take it easy, and let's go New York Football Giants. As always, together blue, everyone.